Simulation shows brutal effects of Russia-US nuclear war. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, bringing you the obvious. And today, we're gonna look at a cool thing on the dailymail.co.uk, science and tech. Now, I think I'm ahead of the curve on this, and I find this sort of thing fascinating. How a war between Russia and the US would kill 34 million in hours. Horrific simulation shows countries obliterated by carpet of atomic bombs. So they made this simulation, I believe, at Princeton University, and it shows what would happen if Russia and the US engaged in nuclear war. And let me tell you, friends, it is not only fascinating, but devastating. Researchers based the simulation on realistic data on current nuclear war plans. The war would start with tactical strikes, but end up with attacks on key cities. It predicts that 90 million people would be killed or injured before fallout effects, so even more people would die than just 90 million. The team hopes that the model will highlight the consequences of nuclear war. So this article is by Ian Randall. Now, for those of you who don't know, my channel is completely unmonetized. No ads, no nothing. I'm completely viewer funded. If you would like to chip in, you can do so down below in the description. I have links to my Subscribestar, to my Patreon, to PayPal, and to Bitcoin. Sharing videos also helps. All support is appreciated. Now here researchers have developed a terrifying simulation that shows how an escalating nuclear war between the United States/NATO and Russia would play out. Now NATO is a North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It's one of the tools that Europe and America use to basically police the world, to guard certain states, to keep certain countries from expanding. They work on collective defense, managing crises around the world, fighting terrorism, working with our partners, troops and equipment, etc., etc. So the model based on realistic data on nuclear force postures, targets, and casualty estimates predicts that 34.1 million people would die within hours. The catastrophic conflict would leave another 55.9 million injured, figures which do not include subsequent deaths from nuclear fallout and other effects. In the first 3 hours alone, Europe would be devastated, and an estimated 2.6 million people would either be killed or injured. The following 90 minutes would see key cities in both the US and Russia hit with 5 to 10 nuclear bombs each, leaving another 87 million dead or injured. Now, this doomsday scenario is what we called mutual destruction. What is mutual destruction? It's very simple. The reason there hasn't been a nuclear war thus far is simply because if superpowers or major countries were to use their nuclear missiles, other countries would retaliate. Everyone would shoot off all their nukes, and then you would get a Fallout scenario. In fact, that's what the game Fallout is based on. The idea that nuclear war turned everywhere into a wasteland. Not to mention, aside from the radiation, there would be devastating effects on the environment, on anyone left alive. Most likely, survivors would get sick and die. The following 90 minutes would see key cities on both the US and Russia hit with 5 to 10 nuclear bombs each, leaving another 88.7 million dead or injured. Wow. That's almost as much as communism killed one time in China. Many countries in the model appear to escape being the direct target of a nuke, such as those in the southern hemisphere and Scotland. Not even China gets scathed. What a shame. However, the effects of nuclear fallout and longer-term impacts on the Earth's climate, population, and food production would have wide-ranging effects. The team behind the video hope the simulation will highlight the apocalyptic consequences and cost to humanity of nuclear war between the two blocs. No, I really gotta wonder, why didn't these people, because Russia's in no mood for war. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of time. As long as they can keep their territory, as long as they can strategically expand, Russia don't give a damn. Why are they talking about China? I feel like a lot of people are ignoring the real threat. Russia's just the boogeyman that leftists and Democrats are always pushing. But the real enemy, my friends, is China. They'll stab us all in the back given the chance. So here's a picture. We are going to go through the video and examine. The 4-minute video was created by the engineering and international affairs expert Alex Glacier of Princeton University and colleagues. The simulation, dubbed Plan A, was drawn up based on various independent assessments of current US and Russian military postures, etc., etc. So let's just watch the video and go through it, because that would be the most interesting thing. Let's check it out. Plan A. What follows is a depiction of how conflict between Russia and the United States could escalate from conventional war to all-out nuclear war. Simulation is based on real force postures, targets, and fatality estimates. Nuclear warning shots. The simulation begins in the context of a conventional conflict. In hopes of halting the US-NATO advance, Russia launches a nuclear warning shot from a base near the city of Kaliningrad. NATO retaliates with a single nuclear strike. Well, that's hard to read fast. So here we can see the first missile, the first nuke being launched. And this is on a NATO base, I believe. There you go. Then we have a retaliation. As the nuclear threshold is crossed, fighting escalates to a tactical nuclear war in Europe. Russia sends 300 nuclear warheads. NATO responds with 180 nuclear warheads via aircraft. Immediate casualties, 2.6 million. So apparently this is when all hell breaks loose. Counterforce plan. With Europe destroyed, NATO launches a strategic missile strike of 600 warheads. 3.4 million die over 45 minutes. You know, the interesting thing about this is Russia is so damn large. You're gonna see that the US would be almost wiped off the map because of this. It's insane. These military bases, I'm assuming, are the targets, or the main targets, as well as the capital. The counter-value plan. With the aim of inhibiting the other side's recovery, Russia and NATO each target each other's 30 most populated cities. 85.3 million die within a very, very short period of time. Fucking Australia doesn't get hit at all. 91.5 million. Number of immediate casualties, including fatalities, 34.1 million, and injuries, 57.4 million, resulting from a series of nuclear exchanges. Deaths from the nuclear fallout and other long-term effects would significantly increase with time. So as you can see, war would be devastating. It would absolutely obliterate a whole lot of people. I mean, that's a lot of people. And more people would surely die from the radiation, from injury. The death toll would surely be higher. So which would be the first 5 cities targeted in the final phase of a nuclear war? In the final phase of the conflict, both sides would take aim at each other's 30 most populated cities. They would deploy 5 to 10 nukes, depending on the size of the city. Here are the first targets. For the US, New York, Indianapolis, Indiana, Washington, D.C., San Diego, California, and Austin, Texas. Those bastards. Target cities in Russia: St. Petersburg, Eshvezich, Groznoda, Taliati, Krasnodarsk. How to survive a nuclear bomb. Pro tip, you don't. Yeah, you'd need a bunker, you would need years worth of food and non-perishables, maybe a garden, and something to generate power. It'd be very minimal, and you would need a very thick, radiation-proof everything. So basically, you're gonna die. Let's check out the comments. DV Call says, all this while ordinary people are just trying to pay bills and raise kids. It's disgusting. Willie Poker says, not sure I like the fear-mongering articles. Can you post more articles about puppies instead? Now, honestly, no, I love stuff like this. It's science and tech. It's a simulation. It's probably a little biased. I personally think China's a bigger threat than Russia, but it's very interesting to actually see the predicted, attack zones and stuff. Clearly, the US is going to be blown up to smithereens. You'd be safer in Russia, and you'd be safer away from major cities. Of course, that's my policy. I hate the city. I would only go there if I had to work, like a job, but I could only do it there. That's the only time I'd ever be anywhere near a city. Azrael Steeth says, this might be the only way to actually get out of the EU. Someone points out what I've been saying this whole time. JG66 says, then China smiles and rules the world. Exactly. So Quirky and Cute says, 90 million deaths would hardly make a dent in a population of 8 billion people. This is ignoring what's going to happen. See, this is only in 45 minutes. There'd be financial collapse, food supplies, pretty much non-existent. What's left of the military wages war. Whatever population who survive after that probably wish they hadn't. Just summarizing that comment, but here, someone makes a good point. Alexandra says, the nuclear winter will take out the rest. Exactly. If we have that many nukes blowing shit up, it may plunge the world into nuclear winter, ash fall, radiation. Things will get very cold. A lot of people could end up dying. Could cause another ice age, for all I know. But it's fascinating. Now, how likely do I think nuclear war between Russia and the US is? Not likely. Between China and anyone? Somewhat more likely. Either way, I think it's best we avoid it. That being said, I can't even imagine what will happen when mankind develops the first antimatter bomb. No radiation, so much destructive potential. I think it's clear to say, at least for now, that nuclear war is something we want to avoid. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this simulation? What do you think about Russia and the US? Who do you think will fire the first missile? Be sure to let me know. As always, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1. Doing so will give you access to Fight Club, a private Discord server. There's also PayPal and Bitcoin if you so choose. And lastly, sharing videos you enjoy and think are important also helps. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.